Hey guys, Drax here, back with another Arc Ascended guide, and as the title suggests, we'll be looking at 2 easy ways to tame Quetzals on the ground and in the air. Let's get straight into what you'll need. And first up is a flyer, at least a Pteranodon, but an Argentavis will be preferable for the weight and also damage when clearing an area. You're going to need some honey from giant bees. If you need a guide to get this, check out my video here. Bee honey seems to attract practically everything, and it's especially good for bringing flyers to the ground. You're going to need at least 2 dinosaur gateways. Bring 4 to make sure, as I always do. Then for taming, you need to check out dododex.com. Enter your taming speed, and it will give you the exact amount. But on basic terms, for a perfect tame, you'll need a long neck rifle, trank darts, exceptional kibble, narcotics, and a saddle for once it's tamed. On Dododex, you can change your taming speed, you can change your gun's weapon damage on your long neck rifle, and all of these variables make it different. For narcotics, if you have like a 6 times taming speed, which we do on our unofficial server, then you don't need any at all. The Quetzal will tame before it wakes up again. But on a 1 times taming speed, you will need something like 366 narcotics to keep it asleep. So everything differs based on taming speed and your weapon damage. So make sure to check out Dododex so you know exactly what you need. So getting into the first, easiest and probably overall best way is to make use of that giant bee honey and bait it to the ground. And a great thing about this method that makes it better than any other for taming Quetzals, especially your first Quetzal, is that you can tame even a high level one. There's other strategies to tame Quetzals, but normally you're aiming for a low level one as your first Quetzal. With this strategy, you can go straight for the level 150 if you want to. So you're going to want to start by positioning yourself above the Quetzal, throwing the bee honey over its head and towards a space you feel is safe below. The Quetzal will follow the honey down in an attempt to eat it. An open area is normally best so you can see if you'll be directing it near any predators below. Keep throwing honey over the Quetzal until you get it near the ground, at which time take the dino gateways and place 1 in front of it. Then when it gets slightly caught up by the gateway, make sure snapping is off by holding Q on the keyboard and throw a gateway in close space behind it, trapping the Quetz from behind. And it traps it and stops it from being able to fly out. If you think there is a chance that it can still get out, maybe it's held, you think it's like temporarily, you can always use the extra gateways you made to make sure it stays trapped in place. It can be a bit tricky and sometimes they do get out, so the extra gateways is a nice extra precaution here. Make sure the coast is clear before tranking the Quetz. Clear the area of any unwanted creatures, and I would recommend putting up some spike walls around at this stage to stop any of those pesky critters from getting in, as they will of course try to ruin your tame once you have it knocked out. Proceed to trank the Quetz out, then add the kibble and narcotics to the inventory. Keep an eye on the torpidity, topping it up with narcotics when it gets low. And after a few feeds, that should be the Quetz tamed. Throw the saddle on, pick up your gear, the gateways and spikes, and you're ready to head back to base. So that is Quetzal Taming Method 1, and it just works. But for Taming Method 2, we won't be leaving the air. We'll actually be using that Quetzal you just tamed and building a Quetzal trap on the back. So to start with, the new Quetzal, you can use this or any Quetzal at any level, and you need a platform saddle. That's going to be probably the tricky part for some of you if you're early game. But once you've got a Quetzal platform saddle, you can even get this from drops sometimes, you're going to build a thatch structure on the back, and here's what you'll need. It's a really easy to build, all thatch using the 40 max base structure limit. You're going to want 2 foundations, 17 ceilings, and 21 walls. And you can see it being built here. Basically a 3x3 thatch structure with a ceiling and a flap like post box. It's a really simple trap that just works for taming Quetzals. Now all you need to do is fly up behind a Quetzal, pop them through the letterbox, basically just fly through them, and bring your Quetzal to a stop so the one you are trying to tame is stuck behind the flap. Then you can just jump off the saddle, turn around and proceed to trank the Quetzal. Now when its torpor is full and it falls, it will stay inside the box that you have created, and you can tame it safely in the air without threat from any of those carnivores or pesky critters on the floor. An old but gold method from Ark Evolved that was taught to me by a friend. Exactly the same with the kibble and narcs, and when finished taming, all you do is fly forward and the Quetzal will pop straight out the back and follow you home. So there you have it, my 2 favourite ways to tame a Quetzal in Ark Ascended, with no crazy hanging from birds with a grappling hook while screaming. If you enjoy that though, you can carry on. I also want to note, ingesting rare flowers do not work on Quetzals. Tried this and there was no reaction from the Quetzal, but it is normally a good tactic to lure in other non-aggressive flyers. It makes them attack you basically. There guys, that is the video. Make sure to share it with anyone that might make use of the guide. Comment with any thoughts or questions you have below, and sub for more. I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye for now.